bricks. Used to be about 100 meters that way. We relocated every single brick here to do some real blacksmithing in a real blacksmithing forge. Now, chains, locks, nails, hooks, all that stuff was made in this store by our master blacksmiths. In fact, chains were a brand new innovation for the time. The Spanish were using this set of chains in everything. Even things where ropes were better, they would use chains instead because they insisted we invented them, they ought to be better. So chains were a big deal. But you could also make, here in a blacksmithing shop, you might find things such as your armor. This right here is a replica of a Spanish militia helmet. Now these helmets were designed with three main purposes in mind. In fact, I could use a little volunteer for this next demonstration. Would anybody care to try on the helmet? You want to try it on? Come up here, big guy. You step over that, I'll help you over. No, you got it. Alright, you want to put this on your head? You ready? Here you go.
Where did he go?
Now these helmets had three main purposes. Purpose number one was to make your soldier face the right way. There you go. Purpose number two was actually to make you look like the proudest animal of the Spanish militia. Do you know what this animal is, young man? No? What's your name? Stephen? Alright, Stephen, we're going to do the salute of that animal. You ready? Alright, can you see anything? No? Alright, so take your hands, stick them out right in front of you like this. Now take your thumbs, stick them up in the air. Now put your thumbs in your armpits. And then move your elbows up and down. Because it makes you look like a chicken. The Spanish believed that chickens were the proudest animal of the Spanish militia because they were small and compact, high in protein. I didn't say stop, Stephen. Keep doing your elbow thing. They said they were small and compact, high in protein, very good for long voyages across the ocean. All right, now you can stop, Stephen. Thank you very much. See, there's one last thing these helmets were good for. Now imagine you and your soldiers are standing in a line, and the guys behind you have a big 10-foot pike. Now when he lowers that pike, it might land straight on your head. So to deflect that pike to either side of your body, they had a big point on top, so it would help direct the flow of that weapon. Now that meant these helmets are really good against blunt trauma. So we're going to do a little demonstration. Are you ready, Steve? You ready? Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Did that hurt, Steve?
No.
Because I hit you with this. That's the power of the helmet. Big round of applause for Mr. Steven. Thank you, young man. You may step back. Thank you very much. Now here in a blacksmithing shop, there was one thing that they could not technically, legally make. And that was weaponry. See, the Spanish wanted to mandate who could and who could not have weapons in their new colonies. So they made it the job of the armory back there to make all of the weapons and technically the armor too. But it made it the job of the blacksmith to make all of the tools. And I know what you're all thinking. And no, this is not a weapon. One could use this to cleave a skull in twain if one so wished, but of course that's not what it's meant for. It's meant for chopping wood, but it ain't gonna do nobody no good if it's this dull. So we're gonna sharpen it right here on our little grindstone. Let's get this grindstone up to speed. Any questions so far? Now that this is nice and sharp, ladies and gentlemen, I can now use it to do my trick. So if you'll just lean back a little bit. Here we go. I ain't gonna throw it. You gonna throw it? Come on. No, I ain't gonna do that. But I will do a trick. Would you all like to see a trick?
Yeah.
Alright then, OSHA be darned. Here we go. Oh! Opa! Hey! Atsamara, hey! Atsamara for you. You eat my ravioli and my pasta fazola too. I'ma give you cacciatore and a pizza that's good to chew. Atsamara, you don't like it. Hey! Atsamara for you. Ho! Ta-da! Now I know y'all didn't come here to see me throw axes. You came here to see me play with fire. Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. But if I'm gonna play with fire, I'm gonna need to don my safety gear. My safety gear consisting of 1, leather glove, and that's it. Now, I think this fire is pretty hot, but it might not be hot enough. You see, usually a blacksmith would have 2 apprentices working the bellows back then. Now, this fire may need someone to work the bellows. Could I get a volunteer, maybe 2, to help me with the bellows? You guys want to help me play with fire? All right, you 2, come on up. All right, let's open this way. Now, what I want you to do is step back that way. Thank you very much. Step back that way. And now I want you guys to avoid the fire and come this way. What's your name, young man? Dylan. All right, Dylan, I want you on the left. What's your name? Abigail. All right, Abigail, I want you on the right. Now hold on to these. When I say your name, I want you to pull those back and push them back in. Let's practice. Ready? Dylan. Abigail. Now that's good. But you really got to pump air through it, so I want you to do it harder. One more time. Ready? Dylan. Abigail. Very good. Dylan. Abigail. 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 Dylan. Oh, you weren't paying attention. All right, Dylan. 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 Abigail. 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 Dylan. Dabby. Alan. Abigail. Dylan. Abigail. Dylan. Abigail. Dylan. Abigail. Dylan. Abigail. Dylan. Abigail. Whew. This would go on for 8 hours a day. Instead of going to school, you would come to a place like this to be an apprentice. And your job, like I said, would be to pump air into the fire. And since this is a job, don't worry, you kids are getting paid for your efforts. Just like they did back in the day, you're getting paid in knowledge. Never eat yellow snow. There's your payment. Now, a big round of applause to my apprentices. All right, come back here, kids. And thanks to you, this fire should be nice and hot. Let's see. Pumping air underneath the fire through those bellows now has heated up the coals to nearly 2,000 degrees. In the Spanish colonies, you'll find that they use charcoal more frequently due to the fact that Florida isn't known for having coal mines. It's also better for blacksmithing using charcoal because it burns faster and hotter, which is better for our purposes. Now this. Red, hot, black iron. Now they call this black iron because, well, it's black and it's iron, and, well, that's where we get the term blacksmithing from the iron they used to work with, and from the term smith, comes from the word smite, to smack something with a hammer. Now down here where the metal wasn't in the fire, I can't really bend it, but up here where it was in the fire, it bends like taffy. Now I can turn this into anything I want. Heck, I'm going to make this into something very handy to have aboard a pirate ship. A hook. Get it? Handy hook. Now, because I am a master blacksmith and obviously a master of comedy, if I want this to be a nice flat piece of metal again, all I got to do is bend it back into shape, and I will once again have a perfectly flat piece of metal, with which I can... Right, not quite. But I can fix that. All I need to do to fix that is to take my little hammer right here and take my anvil, and I'm also going to take these because that metal is very, very hot. And we're going to put this in between the two. Nah, never mind. We're going to put this between the two and see what happens. Here we go. Woo! Now, for those of you paying attention, those little shards of red hot metal that were flying at my bare skin, why, that's just iron oxide. Iron oxide is the outermost layer of iron, which absorbs too much oxygen. And since they didn't have safety goggles back then, I have to be a lot more careful than I just was. So here we go. There we go. With just a few swings of the hammer, I now have a nice flat piece of metal. But as you can see, it's not red hot anymore. Do you still think it's hot?
Yes.
Well, let's find out. We've got a bucket of water right here. Let's see how hot it really is. Oh! Yeah, that's pretty hot. Let's put that back in the fire. Let that heat up a little bit more. Now, thankfully, I was smart, and I planned ahead, and I already got another iron in the fire. But you don't want too many irons in the fire. You might get confused on what you're working with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little bit of beeswax and I'll put it onto the metal. Now beeswax, I'm sure you all are curious. Why is he using beeswax? Well, you see the metal itself is rather porous. It means it's got lots of little holes in it. Now, if water gets in these holes, it just starts to rust the metal. So instead, you put beeswax. Please don't interrupt my tour, okay? So you want to be very careful when you're working with something like this. This is meant to seal it so it doesn't start to rust very quickly. But if you put too much beeswax on the metal, it could set the metal, like you said, on fire. This is why you leave it to the professionals who know what they're doing. Won't set the metal on fire. It's actually where we get the phrase, mind your beeswax, means pay attention to what you're doing, otherwise things could get out of control. Now, are there any questions, comments, statements, or concerns? Yes, young man.
It's on fire.
Oh! Woo! That was scripted. Now, because I've dipped this in the water, it should be cold enough to touch.
No.
Do you want to touch it? How about you, young lady?
No.
You, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
You think I should touch it?
Yes.
Well, I'll do anything to please an audience. Here we go. One.
Peter.
Oh, cheater. Fine. 1, 2, 3. Aha! You see where the water touched it, it's nice and cold, but where the water didn't touch it, this metal is so hot, you might still be able to hear it sizzle. Did you hear it? For those of you in the back, it went... Now, because I've dipped this in the water on both ends, it's what they call tempered. To temper the metal is to cool it down very quickly. Make it nice and solid like this lock right here, or perhaps cool it down very slowly. Make it a bit more flexible and spring-like, like a spring. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are there any other questions about our blacksmithing shop? Alrighty, in that case, let me say thank you for joining me here today at our blacksmithing shop here in the Colonial Quarter. There's a lot of wonderful things out